Hello and welcome to round 10 of the iRacing official online V8 Supercar series. We're live tonight from Phillip Island, one of the staple tracks of the Australian V8 Supercar series. So I'm here tonight with Sam Sutton. As per usual, we're here for 30 laps tonight, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. I wouldn't say it's as per usual this season. I've been away for a bit, but come back tonight, and Phillip Island's on not a bad track to welcome myself back to.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a place I really love. I think it's one of the better combinations in the service. And to add to that, come off Porsche Carrera Cup Australia last night here with a pretty competitive field, and it seems like we've got just as competitive field tonight. A few guys who've seen come back from a long time ago, guys like Marlon McMullen, Bo Cubis out there tonight, as well as the regulars for this series, Ian Ford and Corey Preston, those guys fighting it out for the championship, and also going to see Josh Rogers out there having a fang tonight.
So I had a typical yawn there, but yeah, Stephen Clarkstone's out there as well tonight. He's having a rare steer in a Monday night race. He's been getting around the second split events, but he hasn't been in a Monday night race for a very long time, I think, Jake.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Sandman do an official race in general for quite a long time, but yeah, Sandman was pretty quick when he did some laps of Phillip Island this time last year, and that TTR car has got quite a good setup underneath it, so he'll be, I think, the lone TTR car out there tonight. I know Sam Blacklock entered, but seems as though he hasn't made top split.
So we've got Sandman on screen as well. Qualifying's underway at the moment. So the first guys they're all just starting their first flyer now. We've got a nice cool track of 23 degrees, so we're looking at pretty quick times and low tyre wear tonight, which is atypical of Phillip Island. Usually quite an aggressive track on tyres. First time in from Dane Warren's a 1:34.8.
Yeah, I think that'll probably be an outlap. Expect to see these guys probably a little bit quicker than that. We're hearing that last time Sandman did a race was the 28th of May last year,
Official
so pretty
race,
much a year. Pretty much, like, give or take a week, it's been a year since Sandman last raced. Sandman's coming across to finish this lap now on the run-up Lukey Heights. It's been even longer, Sam, since he last did a V8 race.
It's been, 2 or so years. We're hearing December 2014 was his last official V8 Supercars event. Of course, he jumped in the seat between then, of course, and endurance racing and V8 Scops. Seeing our first couple of guys come towards the stripe now.
Yeah, we'd probably see guys actually maybe even able to do faster laps on their second go. The top 10 shootout last season in V8 Scots was in 16 degree track temp, so very similar to this. Sandman does a 1:29.7 straight out of the box, but Rogers, as expected, has gone straight to the top on a 28.8, but not a huge margin, only just under a couple tenths to Forzan Olnabi in second.
Olnabi is surprised there with a 29 dead. He's ahead of McMullen and Cracknell. Cubis as well, struggling a little bit. He's been out of the car for a fair while though. 29.5. More times flying in. Dane Warren's done a better second lap at 29.2 this time. David Moores, who's showing some good form this week at Phillip Island, and he's backing that up from his strong results in V8 Scops so far with the 29.2 into 4th.
Yeah, Forzan was really quick in Scops last year. I'm pretty sure he put the Performance Motorsport car, I think, 7th or 8th in qualifying in top 15 shootout last season. So Forzan can steer around here, there's no doubt about it. But I think these second laps are going to show some more, because the super cold track is probably going to allow these guys to get 2 laps out of it.
Most definitely think they'll get 2 laps out of it. As we're waiting for sort of Ian Ford, who's another one of the heavy hitters yet to do a lap. Mitchell McLeod is just finishing his first lap now.
And Mitch is going to come to the stripe and do a 1 minute no time. So invalidated lap there from Mitch. Mitch is going to have to make the second count.
Just coming across Lukey Heights into MG and in towards the last 2 corners.
Yeah, I reckon Ian could probably challenge Rogers here if he gets the lap right. I'm hearing no improvement from Josh Rogers on the second lap, so Ian's going to make this one count.
It was a bit of a scruffy exit off the final corner. What's he do? 29.1. Puts him into P3, just ahead of Marlon McMullen.
Yeah, slides up in front of Marlon, but I think this will be a relatively high soft tonight, so this is sort of championship implications of this round are pretty severe, so Ian's going to want to get as many places up the grid as he can to try and gap Corey, but we're going to ride on board with Mitchell McLeod for the rest of his lap. Fluff the first one, so has to make this one count. He runs down into MG. So nice and tight in second gear. Stretches that gear all the way through the second to last corner. Stretches fourth through the final corner. He's going to pull fifth as he exits. Keeps it nice and tight using all the road. Straight line to the start-finish line. Mitchell McLeod does a 1:29.5, so not a bad effort considering that would have been his second lap on those tyres. He probably could have jumped up into the top 5 or 6 had he made that first lap count.
So he's still middle of the road though. He's got 24 cars tonight. Hayden Dodman's just jumped up to 9th, sort of at the last minute there. We've only got a few guys, I think, finishing their laps now.
It's actually really, really close between about 6th and 18th. You're talking 3 and 4 cars between the 10th barriers there, so should be really, really good racing throughout the whole field actually.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. There is a pit stop tonight, so Dodman's actually just on his second lap. He's going to get just enough time in to do this one. Oh, he's a bit loose. I think he's off track that one, so he's the last driver to finish now. So that's all the guys done, and we'll run through the grid. We've got Joshua Rogers on pole from Falls and El Narby, and then Ian Ford rounding out the top 3 with Marl McMullen 4 and David Moore in 5th.
Yeah, a couple of disappointments just looking through the field. Bo Cubis outside the top 10, he's in 13th, and even worse, Corey Preston not doing himself any favours in terms of trying to win this championship in 17th, so bit of a disaster for those two guys, but 6th place is going to be Dane Warren with Brian Borg. These two guys actually showing some really good pace towards the back end of this season. In 7th, Michael Cracknell in 8th, Hayden Dodman 9th, and Mario Vlasic with a good result for him, actually rounding out the 10.
You got Mitchell McLeod, Jason Bentz 11 and 12, Bo Cubis 13th, Cooper Murray 14th, and Chris D'Angelo 15th. Stuart Vaughan is 16th, with Corey Preston way down the field in 17th. Jordan Murphy 18th, Stephen Clark is 19th, and 20th is Michael Hammond.
Going over to our last couple of rows on the grid, Ryan O'Sullivan in 21st, Luke Harvey seemingly not as far up as we expect him to be either in 22nd, Riley Blythe at 23rd, and Michael Talyancic rounding out the 24 car field, and we should see it tick over to our race session now. 30 laps, not entirely sure what the pit window is around here in this one, Sam.
Nah, me neither, I'm clueless, I'm sorry.
Either way, we'll probably see guys pitting around the 15 lap mark. Just smarter to split the race in two. The undercut won't be as effective due to the really cold track. So should be interesting to see how these guys go. But I think it's pretty hard to go past Josh Rogers to take this one. We know how fast his race pace is. Who's your pick, Sam?
I'm going to have to pick Rogers provided he doesn't make any mistakes. I don't think he's done many laps today. We'll see how he goes though. Phillip had a pretty good car here last year in Scops, and we'll see how it goes tonight, but you can't go past Rogers, and I'm thinking as well, Jake, it's about a 45 litre stop is what I'm hearing from the last race.
Okay, so not too dissimilar to what we saw last week at Spa, but
So just waiting for guys to grid now. It's an interesting run to turn 1. It's a pretty long run, and turn 1 can get a bit hectic. If you can hold the outside, you'll be alright for 2. But it's being able to hold that outside line. You can find the guy on the inside will just push out into you and run you out of road. And it causes a few incidents if guys sort of hit that grass and just come spearing off and entering at turn 2 again.
yeah, that's right, Sam. Those who were viewing our coverage of last night's Porsche Carrera Cup Australia round would have seen a fairly large shunt down at turn 1. Phillip Island's pretty notorious for it. Generally can get through there 2 wide, but when you start going 3 and even 4 wide, that's when you start to see trouble. So these guys will want to be careful on these cold tyres, but about 20 seconds now until we'll see the lights pop up. Most of the guys up onto the grid.
Yeah, not long now, just a few more guys to come. As the revs begin to build.
30 laps around Phillip Island, and they are green. Saw a bit of a jump back in the field from Dane Warren, potential jump start there, but a good launch from Josh Rogers.
Good launch from Forza on Arby, actually. He's actually had a better start than Rogers. Hasn't been able to capitalise it. Ian Ford going defensive on Mullen to one. Forza trying to hold the outside. Tucks back in.
Yeah, Marlon's going to have the outside, bit of a wiggle of Ian Ford into Southern Loop now. But, he's actually been sent by the 24 car of Dane Warren. Marlon's going to lose a position. That's going to prop him back to 5th. He could lose another one now, too, to David Moore if he gets enough of a run. Most of the guys single file, nice and clean on the run through Stoner.
Warren's looking aggressive on the back of Ford. Ford goes defensive into Honda. Oh, you got a car on the grass. Preston's on the grass. This is going to be big. He actually held that. I'm quite impressed there. We actually, Mario Vlasic is doing some mowing, not some grassing.
Yeah, actually quite good driving there by Corey Preston. Mitch McLeod made a similar save last night in the Porsche Carrera Cup races. Can be disaster if you go across the field there, but seeing Preston now actually too wide through A-Shed. Gets the move done on Jordan Murphy.
So that puts him into 17th position now, I believe.
Corey making some good moves actually. Obviously, all time not representative of the pace he's got, but Josh Rogers, as they finish his first lap, has stretched what looks like about a 5 or 6 car length lead over Forza and El Narbi and back to Ian Ford now. I think Ian probably has a bit of speed over El Narbi at the moment.
Yeah, Ian, he was pretty strong in the early race, so was beaten out by Mitchell Selak, and could just be different starting tyre pressures. El Narbi could be a bit lower relative to Ford, and Ford's got a bit early pace. He's got a bit of company though from Dane Warren, who's showing some good form. He has, of course, earlier in the season and a bit of last season been unlucky starting mid-pack and getting cleaned up on lap 1.
Yeah, we mentioned last night Dane Warren, definitely one of the rising stars in terms of young guns in this community.
And now we got a car on the grass. That's who's that? That's one of the Talking cars. Hayden Dodman. Oh, he nearly clipped his team boss there. That was very awkward. He nearly cleaned up Mitch. He's actually just given Brian Borg a little touch up on the exit of Honda, but nothing too major from that. It was barely a touch. That's 2 cars we've seen hit the grass there through Stoner and survive.
Brian Borg actually lost the rear end of that car, and he's probably lucky he did, otherwise he would have been completely clouted. So, bit of unfortunate luck there, if you call it that. What that has
luck's
done,
unfortunate, really.
what that has done though, is create a little bit of a battle pack there with Brian Borg, Chris D'Angelo.
It's a very angry pack
Michael
as well.
Hammond.
We've got D'Angelo up the inside of Hammond into MG. We've got Sandman running the reduced weight configuration.
And just up in front of them as well, Corey Preston's still trying to battle through the field. I think he would have made a couple of positions out of that. He's looking in front of him at Jordan Murphy and Stuart Vaughan going at it.
As Luke Harvey's actually going to the pit lane with a fair bit of damage in his car. Looks similar to what would have hit the back of Sandman's car. Just going to have a quick look back through and see what occurred.
See how Corey Preston deals with these two in front of him. Seems very impatient, trying to get past as quickly as he can, lose as little time to the guys like Ian Ford as he can.
Well, he was just in front of Jordan Murphy a lot longer, as Murphy has a look on Stuart Vaughan into Honda. Got to get well up there as he can hold the outside, and move looks pretty much done.
And then parks the bus on the apex, and that's going to open up for Corey Preston on the outside, but Stuart Vaughan gives him almost no room.
If you can hold it here,
not
get
quite.
The drive off, not quite.
A little bit
Nice
of mid-corner
idea,
contact there kind of ruined that for Corey, but he'll have another look up through Lukey Heights and into into MG, sorry. Tries to square up the exit. Could have a dive. Chooses not to this time.
He had a look though, and then Vaughan had a little bit of wiggle in the rear. But I was saying earlier, Murphy was actually behind Preston. We're looking at McMullen and David Moore. McMullen P5, Moore P6. Warren's had a good start actually. He's jumped from 6th. He's jumped these 2 guys off the start.
And gaps extending. First and second and third, so Rogers absolutely flying 3 tenths faster last time by the Force and El Narbi, and El Narbi actually 4 tenths faster than Ian Ford.
Moore searching high in Southern Loop, to find a bit of grip and try and drive around the outside of McMullen. Almost left himself vulnerable to Michael Cracknell. This is a nice 3-car fight here.
He could have a look. McMullen's wide actually. He's
McMullen's gone defensive.
Honda. To Honda they go.
Moore's just got to be careful because he's searching high and low at the moment for a way around. He's not going to leave himself vulnerable to Cracknell behind him.
Yeah, one of my favourite places to pass at this track is MG. You just throw the nose out and fan the car out of Lukey Heights and send it down there. It can be done, but you've got to have a lot of confidence in the brakes in your car.
And there's got to be a bit of trust in the other bloke as well. He's not going to, turn down. He's actually got to have seen you. He has a look, does more, but pulls out of that one.
It looks like maybe a little bit of an average lap.
Stuart Vaughan as well.
Force and El Nabi actually looks like Ian Ford has maybe pulled him in a little bit more.
Gap's
keeping in that draft.
Gap's 0.8 of a second.
We're looking at Corey Preston.
He's he's all over that rear wing.
He should have it here. He's well wide, carrying a lot more corner speed, but bit of mid-corner understeer seems to have hurt him a little bit.
He's got to make the most of it here at 1. He pulls out to the inside. Move done.
Throws it in. Vaughan tries the over-under. Not going to be able to do anything with it. Nice move from Corey, but a couple cars in front.
Hammond coming through on Vaughan. Vaughan trying for that crisscross, slowed himself up too much at the mid-corner, and Hammond's got the run now. He's going to have the inside for Stoner.
It's going to be a drag race up to Honda. Stuart Vaughan has the ideal sort of position, but he lifts, and that should allow Hammond to come over.
So you've got 2 wide between D'Angelo and Borg in the background. Sandman having a look as well. Oh, who's that getting a push? That's O'Sullivan getting pushed from Vlasic as well. Sandman up the inside of D'Angelo. Around goes
O'Sullivan's been rotated. So what's happened there is he's sort of gone for that later apex, and Mario Vlasic has just shown a nose, and not sure how to call that one. I think a bit of both parties involved there.
Moore has now got past McMullen as well. He's up into position 5.
Yeah, and it's actually quite feisty between Jordan Murphy and Bo Cubis at the moment. Murphy had a huge lunge into MG then. They've been going at it for this last lap.
Murphy's sliding it out of MG, end of the second to last corner as well. Tidy that up.
Gotta be careful.
Hayden Dobman for company as well.
Looking back, Hammond and Vaughan, these guys side by side once again, but Vaughan manages to clear. But now onto the straight. Hammond is going to look to the outside of Stuart Vaughan. Hammond smacking the limiter there. He's going to try the outside move into Southern Loop. Hammond's going to have the inside. He's going to have the ideal line. Vaughan's too wide.
Vaughan doesn't want to. He's just got to make sure he doesn't get hung out to dry here because Borg's having a look now.
He can have a look back into Stoner. Vaughan with a very good run running that wide line. He's going to push Michael Hammond.
Nope,
and then
he's gone.
Good catch. Very well caught there.
Sandman very nearly just drilled him there as well.
Oh, Sandman pitching a rear.
So there's something not right with Vaughan's car. I mean, he did qualify 16th and was up. He was 15th until that little kerfuffle, but something not right
Probably
with his
car.
car.
Probably just hurt the rubber a little bit much with Murphy there.
So he's still got Cubis, Murphy, Dodman as well. Oh, just looking at Jordan Murphy, he's very nearly collected. Bo Cubis there in the MG. He's given Dodman a look, but he closes the door.
Take a look up to about P6. Marlon McMullen being closed in slightly by Mick Cracknell. Mick's had a couple. He took a bit of time off and has been a little bit slow the last couple of rounds, but found his feet again here at Phillip Island.
Just put it nicely. You're a bit slow, mate. Ryan O'Sullivan is in the pits, and I think that'll be unscheduled.
Yeah, that's too early. That'll be damage from the Vlasic incident down at Honda.
Meanwhile, out front, Rogers has got a 2.5 second lead over Forznell Narby, who's then got about 7 tenths back to Ian Ford, who's got Dane Warren for close company. 5th, still David Moore, Marlon McMullen, Mick Cracknell, Mitch McLeod, Jason Bentz, and then it's a hard, and Cooper Murray rounding out your 10, but 11th is not. Oh, it's Jordan Murphy's up the inside of Bo Cubis at Honda for 11th place, gets that done. Bit of muscle involved.
Dodman looking to capitalise.
Now Dobbin's actually already capitalised on it and got past Cubis.
Good traction from Murphy out of Siberia. Gonna make him safe from Dodman. But looking behind those guys, Corey Preston starting to close in quick. Bit of history between Corey and Bo.
Corey's having a look into MG, locks the rears, or...
Yeah, that was accidental there by Corey. I don't think he was planning on having lunge there. But, using a bit of curb in the second to last corner. We unsettled the rear a little bit too much. He keeps it nice and tight to the last corner. This is good here. He could have a big run on
yeah,
Cubis.
Cubis is he's looking a bit rusty, a bit out of the seat. He's sort of been boxed around the ears at the moment. Lost 2 places in one corner. He's probably going to lose another one this lap.
Looking a little bit further up, Dodman chasing down Jordan Murphy.
Oh, Corey's off. Corey's just forgot where the road goes at Southern Loop and he's exploring. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, it looks like the back just stepped out on him there. See if we can get a replay on that, because that was... Oh, actually no, Cubis has got on the brakes and I think he's probably pinched the front trying to avoid running into him. Done a good job to keep that out of the fence, has Corey Preston, but that's a shame after all the time, after all the positions he had made up.
He's gone to the back of the field, so 21st.
Yeah, 22nd even.
No, Ryan O'Sullivan's a lap down, so he'll be 21st.
Oh, yep, that's true, but take a look at Murphy and Dodman again, but actually a little bit further up.
Bence,
Cooper Murray and
Cooper
Bence.
Murray, yeah. Bence or Murray having a look into MG, but Ben's going defensive.
Cooper Murray obviously fresh off a weekend of racing Formula Fords at Winton.
Bence just looks a little bit uneasy in the rear end at the moment, sort of sliding the car out of corners.
Yeah, Cooper will have him probably cleared by turn 1 here. I think he's got a very good run. He's going to have the inside line too. Uses that toe, pulls out. Doing about 5
He's going to get this one, and Dodman's also having a look into one in the background of the shot there.
Oh, they're too wide. Bence has held him around the outside. Great driving from Bence. He's going to have it into Southern Loop. Very close though, door to door.
I'm looking behind that battle at the moment, Jake, between Murphy and Dodman, and they were both nearly off the road at turn 1, and Murphy's able to hold on.
Got to give it to Phillip Island. It's such a brilliant track for racing, and with our Aussie servers back, we can actually see it. But up there
Murphy
now,
defensive. Murray up the inside of Bence as well this time though. Dodman, Dodman, the crisscross, beautifully executed so far. He's just got to hold it.
Door.
I think he fed him more than a door. He fed him the whole car.
Oh, parked the bus beautifully there by Murphy.
Dodman's loosened him up. Great racing there.
And Cubis is going to capitalise. Here comes Cubis. He could get both of these guys up through. Oh,
Just needs
up
to keep
in front.
the momentum.
Bence off the road.
He's gathered it up.
Oh, this is awkward.
He's parked in the spot. He parked right where Cubis was about to have a lunch.
Now he's into the back of Dodman.
Sorted out.
Oh, throws
Murphy.
it up over the curb. Beautiful move by Murphy, and now Cubis is looking into this. Talk about being pinballed, Jason Bence.
You can't hit the apex if there's 1.5 ton of V8 Supercar there. Bence isn't happy.
Yeah, Bence is not happy with Cooper over the mic, but Cubis is going to have a look. Got quite a run there on Bence and plays it smart. Gotta give it to Cubis. He does know when to be patient. Oh, a bit of contact with Murphy. That's going to run him wide, and that's going to have Bence down the inside. Be a drag race up to Stoner once again. Bence is going to have the inside line, but is there an overlap? That's the question. A tiny one at that. So they jump into this braking zone. Oh, contact!
Yeah, that's Murphy's fault.
Yeah, Murphy apologises, but we'll take a look at the replay. Looks like he's just pinched a rear brake and headed left and hit Bence. So bad goes to worse for Jason Bence. He has recovered in 21st though. 19th, sorry. What that's done is that's split up that pack a little bit.
We still got Cubis all over the back of Murphy, and then you've got Hammond and Board behind. followed closely by Stuart Vaughan and Stephen Clark shadowy in his Holden Cruise.
We'll have a little bit of an update with our top 5. Rogers is absolutely checked out. He's up to a 3.1 second lead, and it's split out between the others as well. But
Warren's
David
just
Moore,
sort of fallen off Ian Ford a little bit in the last couple of laps. He's actually got to watch for Moore here.
Yeah.
Moore 29.8 last lap compared to the 30 dead from Warren and Ford.
really, really impressive speed from David Moore. Since he's been released from that little battle with Marlon, I think it was, he's actually managed to pull up, and seems those guys between sort of 2nd and 4th have maybe hurt their tyres a little bit early. They're all in the 30s, while Moore and McMullen are in the 29s.
You've got Cracknell, McMullen, McLeod as well behind those guys. Cracknell all over the back of McMullen. He was very close into Honda, but he's sort of fallen away a little bit through Siberia and up into Hayshed.
These two guys have had plenty of racing over the years in the V8 Supercars Americas series, so not unfamiliar with racing each other, but I'm pretty sure both of them have had a fair lack of seat time recently, so...
So we are on lap 11 of 30. The pit window should be opening very shortly.
Yeah, I don't think... I think you could possibly see maybe Cracknell maybe try and dive for an undercut and make a move on Marlon, but done in the pits. But
the thing with pitting early is you're going to be out, so if you can make it work, you're going to have the warmer tyres when the guy who you were racing... It's not really an undercut because you're going to lose a bit of time with those cold tyres on that first lap, but it'll be equalised sort of when they come out of the pits and you're on that warmer rubber. So it's worth it. You can sort of go with the alternate thinking of I'm going to pit after the guy I'm racing pits and try and gain a bit of time that way. But it's all really down to traffic and what you think you can do on cold tyres. That gap between Moore and Warren is closed by another 3/10 last lap. It's now down to 0.6 of a second.
yeah, David Moore's absolutely flying. Got to give it to him. He's got that Synergy Sim Racing machine hooked up. But Crackers looked really deep under brakes, and Honda that time by could have almost had a move on McMullen from so far back. So I think Crackers definitely has a speed advantage. He's just struggling in the high speed stuff, maybe due to a bit of aero understeer.
His car also could, it actually just looks better in the slow stuff. McMullen's car could have, you could have tuned it up a bit more to be good through the high speed stuff, which is what you really want here, because if you've been quick through Stoner, turn 1, Southern Loop's also sort of high speed. It's more long loaded periods. You can defend quite well.
Bit of a mistake last time by from Crackers though into MG. That's allowed Mitchell McLeod to get a sniff. Been gradually closing, a 30.2 by Mitch McLeod to Crackers 30.4, and looking back up front to David Moore, 29.7 to 30 flat and 30.2 from Ian Ford. So Moore, I think, was fastest on the track last time by, other than Josh Rogers.
Well, his last 5 laps have been so a 29.7, 29.7, 29.8, 29.9, 29.6 for David Moore.
Yeah, he's in that nice rhythm and he's very focused. He got very close just then behind
Our director's feeding us a number for a gap. You don't need a number for this anymore. He's there.
Yeah, David's there. I'd say if he can get the run up through Lukey Heights, he might be able to have a look at MG. His braking performance is just a heap better than Dane Warren's at the moment. We'll watch and see how much that car closes under brakes.
Moore looks like he's just able to be a bit more precise with the front end of his car. As can be seen on the exit there at MG, just able to get the nose where he wants on exit so he can drive out a bit smoother. He's a lot narrower in some places.
We're hearing that Brian Borg and Stuart Vaughan have had a change. Borg making the move on Vaughan. So that'll be Borg up to position 14. Okay, so we're seeing our first cars jump into the lane for their scheduled stops. Murphy, Sandman and Michael Hammond are in.
Bence and Vlasic as well are in. Bence Had a bit of an interesting pit entry there, nearly rotated. So the thing for David Moore at the moment is he's got to sort of pick him up and put him down, so to speak, so he doesn't get held up as he has to dive into Honda. He doesn't want to get held up by Dane and miss out on a chance at having a run on Ian for third. He's really got to just get him out of the way.
Yeah, he just got in the mirrors of Dane a little bit there, and Dane made a mistake, but Moore stepped out in the rear, wasn't quite able to capitalise, but he's absolutely full of the
He's
mirrors
trying to
of that
drive
All-Star
underneath him
driver.
off Siberia there. He's just got to line him up at MG, use your brake performance and just throw it in there. You can't turn into the corner when there's a car sitting there.
He runs really, really tight through Lukey Height Zone. I think it hurts him a little bit. Isn't quite able to get that huge
It lets
run.
him straighten off that exit point so he can be in the throttle more so he can actually set up that dive. It's the line that encourages the dive every lap sort of thing, because you can just stay in the throttle a bit longer and use up more of the road rather than holding it hard left.
None of these guys electing to pit as of
No one
yet,
did.
other than McMullen.
So looking at around about a 16-second stop on average. Benson Hammond a bit slower. Cubis into the lane.
And Vaughan in as well, so gonna be interesting how this throws stuff about. I think we'll see pretty much the rest of the field come in on 15.
Oh, Warren's wide at the southern loop. Moore's up the inside. I think he's got this one. Oh, he's got to get the drive. Drag race now. Holden v forward power here. He's got to be brave and hold the outside here at Stone, which he does.
It's not over though, there's an overlap. Not enough of one though, that's going to be clear.
Oh, Moore losing that
ugly.
round again on exit. So McMullen had
Moore's
a
got it done.
17-second stop. He's just got to watch what Cracknell's pit stop time is. He doesn't lose out, because looking at around about a 15 to 16 second average, McMullen's a bit slower than that at the moment.
We'll take a look at our race leader Josh Rogers, see if he decides to make the call to pit this lap, which he hasn't. So Rogers deciding, you know, I've got this race pretty much in the bag, let's run as long as we can, keep out of the traffic.
There's no slowdowns here, are there?
No.
He's
It's a low
safer.
risk strategy. He's got the lead. He doesn't need to be dumped back in traffic.
Cracknell,
Okay, so
McLeod
I
into
reckon
the
we
lane.
should watch Crackers because it's going to be interesting.
Oh,
given-
McLeod has to have sped into pit lane just then. Oh, that was some pit entry. What's the speed limit?
Oh, it was perfect. He was doing 70 at the line. That was right on.
No. He's doing 83 as he crosses the line. He was not under that speed limit at all.
I think his tyres were doing 0. So,
Yeah, because they weren't turning.
but we'll watch Crackers though because it's going to be quite interesting with McMullen.
So McMullen's coming through the final corner now.
Crackers is down.
Just at the apex. He's
This
onto the
could
front
have been
straight
enough
now.
to jump him.
Past it. It's got to get up to speed though.
Yeah, and he's got cold rubber, so this
And
is
Mc-
going to be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, McLeod's going to probably get him too.
Yeah, so poor stop from McMullen. Probably not what he was hoping for. I think the best of the three was probably Crackers.
McLeod's just got to park him at the apex here as well, not let him get the run off, which he's sort of done. He's slowed him up mid-corner. Beautiful driving from McLeod.
The cold tyres, but he's got no grip in that car at the moment. He's probably going to have to lift a bit through Stoner. Mullen wants to pull out. And there he goes to the outside. One lane wide, and Mullen just gets that pulled
No,
up.
crisscross. What was that about no grip in cold tyres? He's done a beautiful crisscross here. Can he hold the outside?
It's going to be on here at Haitian.
Who's got the biggest kahunas? That's the real question. Both equally as big. We were all just sort of watching and waiting to see McMullen's doing a bit of grassing.
Oh, a moment from McMullen. That's actually parked the bus for McLeod. McLeod's going to serve him a little
McLeod's
bit.
giving him a push. Anything you can do, I can do better. David Moore and Hayden Dobman have also jumped into the pit lane.
We've got to keep watching Mitch though, because I think Mitch will try and get him straight back. Look at the gap that Crackers has pulled just because of those two having that little ordeal.
Well, Cracknell's going to get Moore. Moore had a very slow stop then. A 20.3 second stop. That's
Alright, well,
That's killed him. Not literally,
maybe
but
some fuel saving from Ian Ford, because he's been doing a lot this season, and Moore was catching those two at what I would say is a pretty ridiculous rate, so maybe a bit
he was
of fuel
doing the same
saving.
times as Forza and El Nabi though, so as Rogers pits. Like he wasn't doing anything outlandish, he was doing the same times as Forza, so
Rogers in the lane, I assume we'll see
Ford in.
Ian in. Yeah,
Yep.
Ian's in. So let's look at Ian's pit stop time. So I reckon he was probably fuel saving.
McLeod's got past McMullen, but McMullen's fired it back at Siberia. Corey Preston's in the pit lane as well.
What we're looking for here is Ford to see if he's extended his margin over David Moore.
Well, Moore's
He's
just
down.
coming into, yeah, he's extended this quite substantially.
Okay, so it wasn't fuel saving from Ian, it was just a really poor stop from David Moore. Maybe a bit of an overfill. Dane Warren's out as well, taking a long pit lane entry
Yeah,
for some reason.
that's not smart. That's actually more risky doing what he's done as well, because you pop out at high speed right in the middle of the racing line at turn 1. It's a bit of a bonehead move.
So Warren has pretty much retained his position. The big gain has actually been Cracknell.
Yeah, Cracknell had a
He's-
pretty quick stop, I think.
That's a hugely fast stop. Okay, so we're hearing from our director, he was 3 seconds faster just down the lane, so that could have been just a really good entry and exit. Could have been a perfect stop in the box, or it could have been a little bit less fuel.
Maximising the 1% as that is there.
Can he hang on to it though? Because Moore's looking pacey straight away.
I think with the pace we saw from Moore in that first stint, he probably won't. His falls and pits. It needs a good stop here. Get everything. He looks pretty good and square in the box. So he's got to stay ahead of Ian Ford here.
There was a fairly substantial margin. I think he should be okay.
It was only about a second or so. It wasn't too big.
Moore all over the bumper of Crackers. So Ford's had a really quick
Yeah,
stop.
El Nabi's away.
Ford's already doing 250 k's an hour though, so
I think he's got him.
Nabi's well clear. Yeah, so about the same margin. Oh, too wide. Crackers and Moore. It's going to be Moore's corner down at turn 1. Crackers lifts. Now Dane Warren is looking all over the back of Crackers now. Warren's going to be wider out of Southern Loop. He should get a really nice run here. It's going to be on down at Honda.
This will be a bit sketchy. Oh, Cracknell on the brakes. Miller Stoner. Warren pops out. Got to get it stopped, and he does.
Easy done. I don't think there's few sensations in iRacing that are much better than going for a move at Honda. Lining him up through Stoner and pulling out and just sending it down the inside and getting it right is such a cool feeling in this car, and that's textbook from Dane Warren.
Sometimes you don't even line them up. You just send it. Hope for the best. Make the apex. I'm all good. Italianic last got a pit. Now it does, and the field is cleansed. Well, the field will be cleansed.
So the boys are heading around now to start lap 20, so about 2/3 through this race now.
It looks like the gap from Rogers to Onabi is pretty much the same as it was before the stops, and the same from Onabi to Ford. The big change is the gap from Ford to David Moore.
Yeah, well, as you said, Moore got a bad stop, and Crackers, although he's lost those 2 positions, he's much closer than what he was before, but his pace is actually quite... I don't know if maybe Crackers under fuel. He's dropping off very quickly from these guys.
Short-term reward, long-term loss, potentially doing a short stop.
And Mitch McLeod Mitch McLeod and Marlon McMullen are doing very similar lap time straight out of the pit, so that could become interesting. But we're hearing that Sandman's actually made a bit of time out of the pits with that bent, broken TTR Commodore.
No, it's a TTR Cruise.
Just up in front of him, though, that Bo Cubis, Ryan Borg, Chris D'Angelo, these guys relatively close.
Yeah, Cubis was sort of boxed around the ears for a little bit there, and he's back in 12th now. He started 13th, so he has gone forward. But Brian Borg started 7th, he's back in 13th at the moment. It's pretty much just the shadowing game at the moment between these guys.
It's so close between our two car battles in this field. David Moore and Dane Warren, their pace has been within a tenth of each other since they've come out of the pits. Same can pretty much be said for Mitch McLeod and Marlon McMullen.
The thing with Moore in that last stint though was he didn't really drop off, he sort of plateaued, whereas everyone else sort of fell away a little bit. So I think Moore's got a consistent, just runs the same lap time the whole stint.
From memory, David Moore put together one of the standout performances in the Phillip Island 500 last year. I think he was driving with Brenton Hobson.
I think Matthew Hill put the best one, having not driven the car for like a year and was in the lead, just quietly.
He wasn't in the lead for long.
No, he still was
he got
in front
passed
of
by a big orange TTR car, I think, from memory. Hearing some action out on track, Corey Preston been involved in something down at Honda. See if we can get a replay of it. Yeah, he's straight up been rotated by Michael Hammond there. Obviously expressing his displeasure. I think it's probably justified after that one. We're hearing some dramas for Dane Warren.
He's dropped. Oh, he's back. His ping's over 1,000.
Yeah, he was turning into turn 1 when his lap time registered, so fair bit of delay going on there. Hopefully that stabilises him, because he'll be being put off a bit by that.
I think Moore might be as well with him flashing in the mirror.
Just looking at another two guys who have bunched up a bit. Hayden Dodman and Cooper Murray. These guys are getting quite close. As I say it, Hayden gives Cooper a bit of a nudge going through Honda. This is just what the battle between Marlon and Mitch. So this is for your 9th place.
You're back into the top 10 this fight's for. So order at the moment, it goes Rogers, Elnaby, Ford, David Moore, Warren, Cracknell, McLeod, McMullen, Murray and Dodman. That's your top 10.
And
Cracknell's made a mistake on that lap as well. He's dropped off towards McLeod.
I do honestly feel like Cracknell's maybe fuel saving a little bit. Would make sense with the pit stop he got, but just looking behind, Dodman has a great run on Cooper Murray up onto the front straight. I'm not sure it's going to be enough to have a look into one, but he might just get an overlap, pulls out, goes to the inside, just trying to fill the mirrors, so he pulls back out.
Well, those ANZ cars are typically quite good in a straight line. I know it was an annoyance last year for us here trying to pass them. You just turn tight at the southern loop.
Cooper's double apexing a lot of the corners here, which is sort of a bit disorientating to follow. Looks like just in front as well, bit of a moment from Marlon McMullen, just runs wide. Mitch is actually catching Crackers quite quickly.
Yeah, it was 7/10 last lap. So Preston in the pits, I think he might have just had enough. No, we're hearing he's actually shunted for real this time. Yep. Yeah, the car was significantly broken before the shunt as well, so something else has gone on. He's copped a serve from Michael Talianic at... No, he hasn't. He's done it on his own. He's got loose off the last corner, collected the pit wall, and then he's gone and collected the marshal's post at Southern Loop.
Yeah, so bad goes to worse for Corey Preston. We're now looking at 7 laps to go here at Phillip Island. I think what we should do maybe next time by, we'll ride on board with our race leader, take a lap around this facility.
I think we'll be quiet for this one as well. Just enjoy the sound.
Yeah, we've still got half a lap worth of chatting to do though.
I know that, but I'm just saying, when it comes up, we'll be quiet.
He's pretty fast though, he can do half a lap pretty quickly. About 45 seconds, but we're hearing Dodman and Cooper Murray, these two are going out. Dodman has the outside into Siberia. He's going to try for the over-under to have the move into Hayshed, but Cooper covers nicely. Not going to be anything in it this time. If we don't see anything more from these guys,
Rogers is about to start his lap, so
we'll jump on board with Josh Rogers. Dodman got the move done though. He's going to keep it done. Good move there, but we'll jump on board with Rogers as he's heading into turn 1.
no, he doesn't need a hot lap. Racing's on. Murray Dodman, that's on at the moment.
Alright.
Cut the hot lap away.
Rogers, that's your hot lap. You got to see turn 1. Good corner. Bit of ocean view. It's good. But Murray's going to have another look to the inside of Dodman, but actually gives him a serve up the straights.
Bomb draft. So we're on board with Cooper Murray, looking forward towards Hayden Dodman. Not a lot to see really, just the back end of a talking Commodore. Oh, he's got a slightly better run.
It's going to be on down at Honda, I think, if Cooper decides to have a move.
Tap of the brakes. Does he pull out? Nope. I would have pulled out there to show the nose.
Cooper's been quite patient.
He's actually overcooked it a bit.
I think Cooper maybe should have made the move there because I think Dodman's quite fast. But speaking of fast, Mitch McLeod has closed the gap to half a second. Michael Cracknell. Well, Marlon's fallen off a little bit actually.
Yeah, Marlon back in the 30s. Well, they're all in the 30s at the moment. Just to the low 30s. Dodman did a 30.2 up front. Rogers did a 29.3 that lap.
29 point ridiculous. Classic Rogers, just absolutely driving away with it.
What I'm interested is in Ford compared to David Moore, and 2/10 that lap. More to go to full, but it needs to take more like 2 seconds a lap at this rate.
Yeah, there's
he needs a second lap because there's about 5 to go, and he's
Yeah, so I think the field's pretty much set in terms of your top 4. Even your top 5 are pretty safe.
Yeah, 6 and 7's on. That's about it. Oh, Benson flashes turn 1. This is for 16th position. Ben's trying the outside for both corners. Oh, well, hearing Vlasic actually was up the inside at 1, and then Benz is exploring high and low for a way around again. Doesn't get a good run off of Southern Loop, but looks like he's got a little bit more punch in a straight line. Throws it over the curb at Stoner. Thought about a dive as well at Honda, but pulled his nose in. As I say, pulls his nose in, he puts his nose into the rear of Mario Vlasic and just bumps him off the apex. I love it. I love it how he complains about people doing that to him, yet he's willing to do it himself. So a bit of double standards there.
We're hearing a shunt.
Yeah, that's fair. I think.
Too much action going on here.
Where do I look? What do I do with my hands?
Alright, so we're looking at Vaughan, Hammond and Bentz. But Vaughan has just straight up cleared Hammond on the outside there going into MG. It's going to be moved done for Vaughan. He's going to be up to P18. We need to take a look, I think, back up to Crackers and McLeod. They've been gradually closing. Nothing in those two.
Oh, massive shunt in front. Mario Vlasic has just collected Ryan O'Sullivan.
Okay, so O'Sullivan has come straight out of the pits and gone hard right to try and get to the inside, and Vlasic has hit him at about 260 k's an hour, so that's the dangers of running the short pit. That's a brutal accident, and that would have caught Mario Vlasic out hugely. Right on board with that one. Feel your stomach crunch when you see this.
I think more than your stomach would have crunched, I think most of your body would have crunched. That's a big one.
Vlasic was doing 260 k's an hour at the point of contact, and Ryan O'Sullivan was doing 130, so talking about 140 k an hour impact there. That's going to retire both of those cars. So a bit of late race action, but these guys are coming around for 2 to go now.
3 to go, Jake, 3 to go.
Yep, 3 to go, my mistake, but still on screen we have Crackers and McLeod. McLeod
I think Crackers has the fishing reel out.
Yeah, he does. 100%. You can see the ocean nearby, out on the yachts. But McLeod pulling out 10th by 10th. We know what it's like at Phillip Island though. Catching is one thing, but passing is another.
Yeah, McLeod though is a great passer, so I think if he can get there, he'll make the move occur some way or another. But it looks like the top 5 is pretty well secured. I think most of the battles have sort of died down.
Yeah, there's decent margins between all the guys in the top 5. The closest battles we've got, I think, are this one and probably Stuart Vaughan and Michael Hammond, as well as Jason Benz. Those guys are still going at it pretty hard, but gonna have 2 to go this time by. See the lap times from McLeod and Crackers. I think Crackers has actually pulled out a little bit this lap.
Yeah, gaps out now to around about 0.4 of a second.
And so Crackers is doing what he needs to do to stay in front. If he did have to fuel save, he certainly doesn't now. So a 30.098 from McLeod, but 30.077. These guys have been so close. There's just nothing in it.
Pulled out a whopping 200ths of a second that lap.
Nothing between these guys. That's what's so hard.
It's going to take a mistake at the moment, I think.
Yeah, that's why it's hard for Mitch. He's only 3 tenths back, but that's about 3 laps of work at the current rate that these guys are working at.
He's really just got to hope that his tyres have survived a little bit better than Cracker's tyres have, and he can push harder into those braking zones. He's running a lot narrower into Siberia, trying to make up time anywhere and just fill the mirrors a little bit.
Yeah, I think you could even try and have a big dive and just see if you can sort of psych the guy out in front into opening up the steering. Saw Dane Warren do that a few laps back and it did work, so... Cracknell not looking too healthy through MG. 1 lap to go. Oh! Massively sideways. Huge moment for Cracknell. That's going to get out of the position. But it's now whether or not McMullen can take it as well. There's 1 lap to go. That would have fried Cracker's rears. So, all up to McMullen to see if he can steal this 7th place off Michael Cracknell. Take a look at the replay, just snapped on him as he picked up the throttle in 2nd gear there.
So white flag is now out though.
Do or die for all these guys. Pretty big moment there from Crackers. Lucky it wasn't worse and flicked back the other way, but We're starting to head back live now. We'll take a look at the man who's pretty much dominated this whole race. Joshua Rogers has led from start to finish, and assuming he's got the fuel to make it through these last couple of corners here at Phillip Island, it's going to be a pretty much perfect night for him. Saw Rogers race pretty much every week last season, but hasn't raced as much this season, but when he has, he's been fast as he rounds the last corner. Joshua Rogers for Team TTL getting ready for Scops this weekend at Sebring. What a way to start of the week. Josh Rogers takes your win in round 10 at Phillip Island.
Then we've got Forzen Arnabi following him in second position. Well done from Forzen. As we hear in Crackers also lost another spot to Hayden Dobbin. It's Ian Ford rounding at the podium. David Moore will come home in fourth. Keep it on the road. And you're...
So, Crackers has actually lost a position to Marlon and Hayden. So
and he's very, very slow at the moment, I think. Something's gone wrong with his car, or something's happened on that last lap. I'm going to have a look while
he's lost the rear at Honda and half spun the thing, and that's lost him one spot and 2 spots. So I think that was pretty much it. Just a big mistake into Honda. Those rears would have been pretty fried after that moment he had, but I think our last car circulating is Jordan Murphy. He's going to be heading into the last corner in a lap in a second. Here he comes. And we'll run through. So we see a replay of that error from Crackers. Crackers did really well with that strategy, but the last 3 laps has sort of hurt him a lot in this race. And we've now seen Jordan Murphy cross the line, so we'll run through our full race results, Sam.
Yeah, so we've got Rogers taking the win from Forza Del Narby with Ian Ford rounding out the podium. 4th goes to David Moore, and 5th, Dane Warren. 6th, Mitchell McLeod benefiting from that late mistake from Cracknell, as well as McMullen and Dodman in 7th and 8th. Michael Cracknell falling to 9th. And Cooper Murray rounding out your top 10.
Over the page, you got Bo Cubis rounding home 11th, Brian Borg in 12th. Chris D'Angelo in 13th. Good night from Stephen Clark. Bit of a race of attrition, up a few places to 14th. Jason Bentz in 15th and Stuart Vaughan 16th. Michael Hammond in 17th and Michael Talyancic also making some positions from a few of the crashes to finish 18th. Jordan Murphy, your last car on the lead lap and circulating in 19th.
And then you got the shunts, the spins and the DNFs in general. I have Lasage 4th with that whopper shunt we saw at the end there, finishing 20th. 21st, Corey Preston. Ryan O'Sullivan, 22nd. Riley Blythe, 23rd. And our early race casualty is Luke Harvey, who rounds out the 24 car field.
Yeah, quite a good race tonight, Sam. Plenty of action in those late stages, but take a minute to just talk championship. I think that has pretty much sealed Corey Preston's fate in terms of this championship. He really needed to do well tonight, and I think although Ian Ford finished 3rd, that'll be one of his good point scores for the season.
Yeah, I haven't been really keeping up with the championship being away and all that, but I think that's going to secure it, just from what you've been saying, for Ian Ford. That'll be his 2nd official title now, I think.
Yeah, that's correct, I believe. But where are we off to next week? I believe we're off to Okayama, one of the free tracks. I absolutely love Okayama. I reckon it's awesome in the V8 Supercar. Great car track combo.
Yeah, you're cooked.
And then as
not two subpar tracks to end the season in Okayama and Nürburgring.
2 very Formula 1 style circuits though. Lots of long corners, big braking zones and that sort of stuff. So it's going to be very interesting, but just a bit of a run through what we've got in terms of broadcasts over this week. Thursday we're heading to the Truck Series at the Tricky Triangle at Pocono, so be sure to tune in for that, as well as we'll be back for the V8 Supercars Online Premier Series at Sebring on Sunday. I think a lot of guys are really looking forward to that. And then, as we mentioned, we'll be live at Okayama next Monday, same time here on V8sonline. This has been Sam Sutton and Jake Burton on behalf of all of our team. Thank you for watching. Your winner tonight, Josh Rogers.